You're watching Grassroots Resistance Collective. Texas grown, people powered, and unapologetically bold. We expose corruption, amplify real candidates, and give voters the truth the system tries to bury. No spin, no sellouts, just resistance. Let's get to work.
All right, hello everybody. We are here with Grassroots Resistance Collective again. We are bringing you some more candidates. Go ahead and introduce our other host.
Hi, my name is Chastity. I am the owner and founder of Bud and Bloom's Cannabis Academy here in Texas. I'm a mom and not really a housewife, but I am a wife. All of the things. And a grandma. I'm a grandma. I'm going to have a new grandbaby in a couple of months. Again, my second grandbaby. But yeah, my name is Chastity. Hi.
Hey y'all, I'm Jennifer. I do not own a shop. I am just a very big mouth mom on the internet, and I'm here to share my opinions with you, whether you want them or not. So welcome, join us. Come along for the ride.
All right, everybody, and I'll be your host for tonight. Tonight we're talking with a veteran, a public servant, and a progressive candidate running for Texas Congressional. He's running for Congress for District 25 here in Texas. William Marsh. He's a Navy veteran of 22 years. He's looking to get into DC to figure out what is going on.
Hey everyone, thanks for inviting me, and thank you for the amazing work you do highlighting candidates and asking the hard questions, but the important questions to everyone.
So, how long ago did you retire from the Navy?
I'm a 22-year Navy veteran. I retired in 2018. After I retired, I continued to serve the community with a job at Facebook, also known as Meta. My job there, and I know this sounds unbelievable, but my job there was to give away Mark Zuckerberg's money. So I managed grants and donations across the Western U.S. Over about 6 years, I gave away about $10 million to schools, nonprofits, small businesses, everything from large nonprofits like the Boys and Girls Club, United Way, all the way down to small local nonprofits, a husband and wife in their basement stuffing backpacks with school supplies. So I was in the community every single day, supporting small businesses, schools all over the Western U.S. and nonprofits.
So what made
Cool.
you jump into politics?
All right. I retired from the Navy in 2018. Got a job with Meta, managing their grant program. And last fall, I said it's time to retire and step back. And I truly believed in my heart that the country was on the right path, that Kamala had it, the country was in good hands, and we'd have 4 years of President Biden and then 8 years of President Harris. And I could kind of relax for once in many, many decades.
My heart hurts so much for you right now.
And
I know it.
I know, right? Remember that energy last
Oh God, it was so good.
energy of the convention. And so unfortunately that lasted maybe a month or two. And those plans didn't work out. And the first thing I saw was the Trump administration started banning books at the U.S. Naval Academy.
Oh yeah.
I'm a Naval Academy graduate, and I was just appalled because, of all places to ban books, these are students that it's their job to learn and grow. This is our next generation of leaders, and it is so critically important for them to understand our past, the good and the bad.
Mm-hmm.
And if there's a copy of Adolf Hitler's Mein Kampf in the library, which there is for research purposes, there should also be a copy of Maya Angelou.
Yeah.
But they banned it. They banned Maya Angelou, literally pulling the books off the shelves, stuffing them in a cardboard box, and putting them in the basement. So myself, I said, I can't let this stand. This is calling to me to fight this. So I put together a coalition of about 1,200 people across the country. We raised $70,000. We were on CNN, Wall Street Journal, New York Times, Washington Post. And I flew out to Annapolis, Maryland. And I said, you can ban the books from the library, but you can't stop me from buying the books and handing them out to every single person there in Annapolis. And that's what I did. So
Yes.
me and my volunteer crew were in Annapolis. And the last day we were there, unbelievably, the ban was overturned. And we were in shock because, this administration, they never overturn anything. If anything, they double down every time there's a terrible policy. They just make it worse. But they overturned it. And we looked and we said, we've got something here. We've got something because, one, we gave people something to believe in. We said we had a plan, and we went out and we executed that plan. We gave people something to believe in, and then we did it on the ground with a coalition of donors and a coalition of volunteers, on the ground. And when you give people something to believe in and something they can see tangible you're doing, you've got something. And I said, okay, we've got momentum. What can we do? And I looked at my own district here in Texas. Lo and behold, Roger Williams, the incumbent, has not had an opponent in 2 election cycles. And I said, that's just un-American. That's not what I fought for 22 years. I fought for people to have a choice. And I said, all right, well, we've got some momentum. We've built a coalition. I think we have a good grassroots ground game, no pun intended. And I said, let's do it. And so I said, we can do this. And we're going to take on Texas Congressional District 25. We're going to take on Roger Williams, and we're going to turn Texas blue.
I noticed in, just so you guys know, when we invite a candidate on, we give them all a questionnaire. Everybody answers the exact same questions. So I actually have a question from your questionnaire. Along that same vein, you mentioned, first of all, I do want to make sure that we name the organization that you founded for the books. So please hold that.
So we called it Operation Caged Bird, after Maya Angelou, of course. And at that point, between that, the interview on CNN with Anderson Cooper, and the Washington Post, they kind of took off. And people really grasped onto that. And it felt good, right? It felt good to just fight.
Yeah.
And it's hard. The hardest thing is to get started. And if you just take that first step, it gets easier every time. And we fought. And after a while, fighting starts to feel better. And I can do this. So Operation Caged Bird. That was the banned book operation.
Excellent. And then my question was, we like to find out where our candidates are intending to get money to fund their campaigns, because as we all know, getting elected anywhere in the United States is unbelievably expensive, and that's something that we need to work on. William answered the question the way I would like to have seen him answer it, but would you please let us know if you intend to accept corporate PAC money, corporate donations of any kind?
I do not. And so the first thing we have to do is I would rather have 1 million donations of $1 each than one donation of $1 million. Because remember this movement I was talking about, this movement that inspires people, a movement that gives people something to believe in. And if you want to send me $1, that's great. In the coalition, in the family, with this grassroots support. So that's more important. Down the road, we have to do a bunch of things to fix this, right? So it's not just me. We have to fix the system, which is overturning Citizens United, getting dark money out of politics. It is, you look at what Elon Musk did, donating at $290 million. It should not be that way. That's not what, certainly not what the founding fathers envisioned. And I think that's not what a vast majority of Americans want. So I do not intend to accept dark money, super PAC money. And once I get elected, I'm going to work my butt off to overturn those things and fix the system that led us to this point.
Excellent.
I have a question. Sorry. I'm just kind of reading through your through your stuff. So part of that would be like ethics and congressional reform, right? So in Texas specifically, I know that this would be like a Senate position that you're seeking, a U.S. Senate position.
Congressional, yeah.
Yeah, I'm more, yeah, congressional, sorry. I'm looking more as like Texas as a whole. Do you believe in like term limits, age limits, stuff like that? And then if so, how do you think that those can be implemented? Because, and let me tell you where I'm getting with this. Sorry, I have ADHD and I got to over explain. New people, when they come in, they've got to kind of be trained on the process. They don't really know what they're doing, right? And so if we have a new wave of new people every single election year, then it's going to be taken up with the training of those people every single time. So how can we get new people in and simplify the process of learning, and also, or keeping these mentors in for longer periods of time that are also only representing the people and not representing their donors?
Yeah. So that's a great point. It's now to the point where politicians work for the donors. They the donors pick the politicians they like, fund those politicians with millions of dollars.
It's happening live right now in Austin, you guys. If you want to see what he's talking about, it's live. We're paying for it. $1.5 million. We're paying for it. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, and it's a vicious cycle. So the donors pour millions of dollars into the candidates. The candidates are then are held responsible to only favoring those donors.
Yeah,
we have got to break that cycle. So I do believe in term limits. I can tell you that you're right. If it's every couple years, the training and the learning curve is going to be huge. But I can say this: I think 12 years is about right. That gives a senator two cycles. That gives a representative 6, and I think that's about right. And I can tell you from experience in my military career, we typically change jobs every 2 to 3 years. Yeah. And so after about 2 years, you kind of got it. And then you can stay that 3rd year, you're working at a very high level, even though a 4th year sometimes, you're working at a very high level by that point. You do not need any more than 3 years to be an expert at your job. And so by saying a 12-year term limit, I think that gets us to the point where the representatives are working at a high level of expertise. The other thing you can do is, I understand people are worried that, well, lobbyists would just take over. If you term limit politicians, well, the lobbyists would run Washington, D.C. Nah, just write a regulation that prevents that. It's so easy, right? So you can prevent that by regulations that prevent lobbyists from doing that. You can write regulations on staffers within various committees. So there are solutions, and I think term limits are a very practical way. I don't think it harms anyone. So I am for term limits, and that includes myself. So I will term limit myself too.
Yeah, I don't think I would want to be in a job for longer than that. Like in that specific job, it's so stressful.
What would you tell Republicans who have absolutely zero intentions of ever voting for a Democrat? It does not matter how much they agree with your policy or your agenda. What would you say to Texas Republicans right now?
Yeah, so for now we're talking MAGA hardcore, right? Is that right?
I mean, we're in Texas, so I think that covers a lot of.
there are,
Republicans were here.
in a typical congressional district, on average, there are about 800,000 people across the U.S. That's District 25 is real close to that. So if you figure 600,000 are of voting age, that leaves you with, 600,000, let's say half Democrat, half Republican. There's a solid 10-20% that I think are moderate. So what I would say to them is, look at my character, look at my experience, my record of service, and the fact that you can trust me. So I'm running on a platform, and on my website, I list out everything in the platform. I've tried my best to really put a lot of detail in the platform. But I'm also running on my character, my 22 years of service, and then 6 additional years of serving the community. And I'm running on service and character. So I would say to those moderates, you can trust me. Look at my record over the last 30 years. That's a record of serving my country. So I would say to those moderates, you can trust me. Now, what do I say to the other 80%, right? That will never, ever, doesn't matter. Okay, what I will say to them is, stay home. You can sit this one out.
Yeah.
You don't have to go to the polls. I'm not a communist. I am not going to overthrow the means of production. I am a veteran, and again, someone you can trust to make good decisions. Now, I may or may not agree. We may not agree politically, but that's not the point. What you can do is you trust that I will make a good decision. So what I would say to the 80% hardcore MAGA is just stay home, sit it out. We got this. Let's be honest with each other.
Said it, not me.
We're not going to flip those folks.
Right.
We're not going to flip them.
I don't want to flip them. I just want them to vote off of their morality. I want them to vote with their hearts. I want them to use their brains, because this isn't a blue or red issue every time on my soapbox. It's not a blue or red issue. It's a right or wrong issue. Vote with your heart. You have to have compassion. You have to have some kind of humanity left.
Yeah. It's compassion, it's empathy. And so look at this. Here's an example. When you look at Trump's policies of how the end goal, there are some of those that actually make sense, right? Securing the border. Hey, no one wants violent criminals in the right?
No one, not even me.
Yeah.
Not even me.
So you look at Trump's policies, the end goal of them, there are many of those that actually make sense. Where he goes wrong is the implementation in such a cruel way, in such an arbitrary way. So let's take fraud, waste, and abuse. I am all for reducing fraud, waste, and abuse in the government, but I will do it with accountants, forensic economists, qualified people that cut and find this fraud and cut it out in a responsible way where they're really finding the waste. And a lot of that waste is going wasted on billion-dollar corporations throwing money down the drain. So the end goal is actually something everyone can believe in, Republican and Democrat. But I will do it in a smart way, in a way with empathy, whereas Trump's doing it in a cruel way that actually makes things worse because they cut things that shouldn't be cut. It's arbitrary. It doesn't work half the time. And most Americans see that.
Yeah.
They see that the way he's doing this is just horrific in terms of, you look at ICE, you look at Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security, fraud, waste, and abuse. The way he's doing those is, one, cruel, and two, ineffective.
Yeah.
The way I would do those things is with compassion, empathy, and an intelligent, deliberate way that makes sense. So I would say that's what I would tell those Republicans is, hey, we want the same things.
Yes.
We're just going to get there in a different way.
And it seems like a lot of these issues aren't even partisan. Like I'm pretty sure everybody wants to get rid of fraud, waste, and abuse. That's not a Republican or a Democrat issue. Everybody wants due process. That's in the Constitution. That's not a left or right issue. So I think a lot of these, I guess you would call them conservative, because I see people saying, um like, let's take fraud, waste, and abuse, right? That's, you would want to call that a conservative value, because you're trying to conserve your money, you're trying to save. And I just don't understand how these people are so, so dug in to just one side or one color. It's just so weird to me. It's so weird, and especially veterans too, knowing that they um that they took an oath to the Constitution, and they still just dismiss it as if as if it doesn't mean anything or it's not relevant.
I think part of it is the MAGA Republicans. They just do it. They want the soundbite. That's all they want is a meme. And any way they can get a meme to own the libs, even if it's wasteful, inefficient, doesn't get the job done, doesn't matter. All they want is a soundbite and a meme, and that's how they run their campaign. That's how they win over the radical right-wing voters.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, that is enabled by Fox News, enabled by right-wing podcasters, right? They are enabled in this meme culture to do these things, and we have to fight that with smart, reasonable, intelligent policies.
There's a really good documentary. I think it was Ken Harbaugh did a documentary after January 6th that went into depth and detail about how basically our military has been indoctrinated through Fox News on the bases. And so they go and they get this essentially an education in extremism on one side, and they don't get anything else while they're there. And then they come back here and we tell them that it's too crazy. And like, this is what you've been taught. Like, this is what the programming is.
Yeah, it's very hard to see on military bases, but even any kind of like a waiting room, even some hospitals, you go to the DMV.
Yeah.
It's very easy to have Fox News on the waiting room screen. And I see that a lot, and it is very hard. It's difficult to watch, especially on military bases. You're right.
It's awful though, because I don't think it's any better in left-leaning media. Like, I think that's a huge problem in this country too, is that our media has essentially been allowed to and been paid to lie to us.
Or the other way. Yeah.
They are supposed to be our check and balance. Like, they're our fourth branch of government. The media is supposed to be the fourth branch of government. They're supposed to keep everybody else in check. And when they're not following the rules, the media is supposed to tell us. They're being paid by the same people who pay our politicians to lie to us.
Yeah.
Mainstream media is not your friend. Fox News, CNN, MSNBC. I'm going to get in so much trouble. None of these outlets are there for you. They're there to provide you a product that you are paying for. It has nothing to do with the truth. It has nothing to do with education. It is strictly meant to indoctrinate you to one set of thinking or the other, so that we stay divided, so that they can rip us off. We all need to come together. What is Chastity's motto? Vote on issues, not your party.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it wasn't always that way. If you look, so there was something called the fairness doctrine in media. Ronald Reagan overturned that. And so what that said was that if you're the news, you kind of have to give equal time to address both sides of an issue in a balanced way. And he overturned that. And so what that led to is now it's not really news anymore. It's almost all opinion.
Entertainment.
Right.
Actual propaganda from whatever party they're supporting.
Right. Yeah. So if the fairness doctrine should come back, and a way to solve a little tiny bit of that is just put a little thing in the corner and say opinion.
Right.
If it's opinion, it needs to say opinion. If it's news, it needs to have cover both sides. That would be a very easy solution that we could implement tomorrow. And then it wouldn't solve everything, but at least people could see in the corner, okay, this is someone's opinion. And then on the other side, when it is news, say, okay, I'm watching the news, which means
Right.
I get a balanced perspective of this.
And
Well,
I think there's a lot of people that don't understand I guess punditry. Like they don't understand that these people are there for that reason. It's
yeah.
they're paid to be there and spout their opinions, whatever it is, and spout their opinions, and then roll the ads every 10 minutes or so. I mean,
Because they think news is late night TV now.
yeah,
Right. And the issue is that we have a situation where now that media has proven itself to be untrustworthy, nobody's questioning the fact that we have a president who is now attacking media. It's fine because he's made the media an enemy, and we do need honest media. Unfortunately, you guys have to come to us now, and I'm a crazy lady from Texas who is I'm doing my best here, y'all, but I'm not CNN, so y'all got to work with us. But stop going to these people who are lying to you and taking your money. We don't want anything from you except for you to show up and vote. That's it. And for you to show up and vote with your heart and with your family in your mind, not a party affiliation, not a flag, not some red hat you have at home, not some rainbow flag. Like, we're family, you guys. At the end of the day, we are the army. We are the power behind that document that these people are in Washington, excuse my language, but shitting on every day. That's ours. That's ours. And they're taking it from us and ripping it apart every day. Our governor's doing it in Texas right now as we speak. And I personally am done with it. Show up and vote. I don't care who you vote for. Just show up. Just show up. We have such low voter turnout in Texas. What would you do to encourage your district to show the heck up and vote, even if they're voting against you? How would you encourage that?
Yeah, that's the hardest thing. So what I'm doing in my first year of the campaign, I'm not doing any advertisements. I'm not doing any phone calls. I'm not leaving any mail. I'm not mailing or leaving any mail at your door. The reason is I want to put a face to the name to the handshake. So what I'm doing is I'm going to places and spaces. This weekend I did 3 events Saturday, 3 events Sunday, 2 events today. This is my full-time job. The reason is for my first year, I need folks to, again, I'm running on my character. I'm running on my record. So I need them to to put a face to the name to a handshake. That will build this grassroots movement, just like the banning books. Because when they meet you, when they hear you, when they see you're a person of your word and a person of character, that gives them something to believe in. I was at an event Sunday, and a woman said she was voting, and she knocked on her neighbor's door and said, "Let's go vote." And the neighbor said, "Why should I? Why should I vote? It just doesn't matter." And I understand that's out there.
They want you to believe that.
Yes. And
That.
the way to overcome that is to put a name to a face to a handshake, give them something to believe in, give them something to vote for. So you're not going to see an advertisement from me, and you're not going to get a random phone call from a robo caller, and you're not going to get something on your door, because I'm going to try to meet you where you are. That might be a protest. That might be a laundromat. That might be a food bank. That may be a church social. Might be an ice cream social. But I'm going to meet the people where they are, because I believe when people meet me, when they hear me, when they look at my record, it's going to inspire them. It's going to give them something to believe in and something to vote for.
Very nice.
I want to get to the thing that everybody's waiting on. The Texas redistricting by Donald Trump. The
Good.
gerrymandering of the Texas state. And what are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, sure.
How do you think that people could get involved to prevent this and stop it? Things like that.
Yeah. Let's speculate. And then a month from now, we'll come back and see if we were right. So in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, so I can't speak to the Houston area really, but in DFW, you've got two very Democratic districts. That's Jasmine Crockett, Mark Vesey. Those are in the Dallas area and to the east. Then they're surrounded by 4 red Republican districts. That's Goldman, Van Dyne, Gillespie, and Roger Williams. So my gut feeling is the Republicans will go after Mark Vesey's district. My district slices through Arlington, and then Vesey's is right next to it a little bit. His district is probably, I want to say he won by 25 points, a big Democratic district. So what I think they're going to do is take 4 or 5% from those 4 surrounding Republican districts, shift those over to Vesey's, and they're going to try to make his more competitive Republican. Democrat side, and I think it's going to backfire on them. So what I think is going to happen is VC is going to hold on to his because he's a solid candidate. People like him, and I think they're going to lose at least one of the Republican ones, hopefully mine. But either way, right? Because those Republican districts are now going to be more vulnerable, and I think it's going to backfire.
You don't think you tried to take out Jasmine Crockett? I mean, we would riot.
Plus, I don't know. I think she won like 70% to.
She's mine.
Yeah. Well, we love her. We love her. And I'm glad. I mean, no one's going to touch her. I think out of the 2 of them, VC's district is more vulnerable because it's easy to slice.
Okay.
It cuts through Arlington, goes to Grand Prairie. It's easy to slice off that district, whereas Jasmine Crockett's is kind of a more like urban Dallas district.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would be bad. Do not come for Jasmine Crockett.
Right.
Don't do it. I will ride hard for Jasmine Crockett.
Yeah.
I'm trying to find we had a TikTok earlier that somebody posted. I think Claire sent it to us that had the new maps in it. So I'm trying to find them so that I can show you what the new maps look like, because they're kind of crazy. Or what their proposed maps are. So I agree with you. I've been thinking about this too, is that they're going to try and redistrict to try and pull a bunch of red, and everybody's so mad it's going to flip all those districts blue. I was thinking the same exact thing. But how do the
crazy if they tried to gerrymander us and ended up with 5 blue seats?
Yeah, he would be real mad. Real mad.
Steph's kiss.
Imagine the fit.
Catch up on the wall with the White House.
I'm arresting everybody in Texas. You're all going to jail. You're all illegal.
Okay. That's when they'll let us secede. Like, that's what it'll be. Like, that's okay, fine. We're done with you, Texas. Go do your thing. We're sick of you. Too much trouble. Everything's bigger, even the problems.
And I have a lot of followers that are Democrats. I'm William Marks. I'm not a Democrat or a Republican. I identify as an independent, but some years I lean more conservative, and then sometimes I lean more Democrat. And so this term, I feel like I'm leaning more, into the blue than I normally would. But it's not because of the issues. It's the issues, which is why I'm always saying you have to vote off of the issues. Stop voting based off of your party. I truly 100% believe that both parties have abused their base to the extent of building a trauma bond with that base, as far as like, you can't be a Christian and a Democrat. Yeah. We saw this on on Joe Rogan's show when James Tallarico was on there last week. I had a lot of people in those comments, you cannot be a Democrat and a Christian at the same time. That is not true.
Somebody called James, precious, sweethearted James Tallarico, a demon. Someone called him a demon. I felt murdery. That's how I felt.
Yeah. Jen gets very murdery sometimes.
I get a lot being a veteran. How could you? It just does not make sense to me. I look back at the things I fought for. I fought for people who have less than me. I fought for people who are disenfranchised, for people that are building their way up in this life, in this society. I didn't go to war for billionaires. I went to war for the American people that are the working class. And I get all the time, hey, you're a veteran. How could you be a Democrat? And I say, how could I not be? Because we're the party of the working class people.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of people don't realize this, but Texas used to be a Democratic state for a long time.
And Richard was queen.
Yeah, there was a long period of time that Texas was blue.
Yeah.
And the values of people that are Democrats today are very much the original values of the Republicans.
Yeah.
When Texas flipped, you were blue. Your ideals were blue. And today, what you have is this trauma bond cultish idealism of Christian nationalism. Exactly. That I'm gonna call it what it is. That's what it is.
I love your philosophy of voting. You do not vote for a person, or excuse me, you do not vote for a party.
Yeah.
You do not vote for a party, you vote for a person. And when you do that, look at someone like John McCain, Naval Academy graduate, moderate Republican. Remember what he did when Trump wanted to overturn Obamacare. He said thumbs down. He would not let that happen. When you vote for a person, not a party, you get folks like John McCain, who I could get behind. You get even look at kind of like an Adam Kinzinger, even a Mitt Romney, right? These are folks that may not be perfect, but you understand, okay, they're a person who I can trust to make a good decision.
Or aligned with your values.
Well, yes. So I think you're right on with that.
Yeah, I want somebody that's going to represent me as if I were doing your job.
Yeah.
Or, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like that if you think the same way that I think, then you're making a decision that's best for my family, because that's the decision I would make.
Yeah.
And I don't understand why people don't get that. That's
I just think that the labels have just, I think we've like trolled ourselves into this weird freaking world. Because like before it was like, okay, they're just trolling, they're sharing memes, they're sharing gifts, they're funny, right? It's funny. And then like the election happened and you saw it kind of switch right away, that it was like, okay, these people aren't fucking around anymore. They're like, there's something wrong with our society.
Something wrong.
Where people are just allowing a lot of what's happening. I don't understand how anybody wants this in America. Like on that Jubilee episode that we were talking about, forgot what his name is, Mehdi Hassan from CNN versus
Dude,
far right
that was
Republicans, but they weren't even
crazy.
Republicans; they were straight up fascists, and they were admitted to it also. So it's not funny anymore. It's serious, and I tell people all the time, I didn't move left. The freaking right moved to fascism. Like I've been consistent the whole time.
Yeah.
I was raised Republican also, guys. I did not start out Democrat. This happened.
You cannot say the two parties are the same. One party, even if it makes mistakes, tries to do the right thing. The other party aims for cruelty.
Yeah.
It's okay to make a mistake. It's okay to have to change your policy. When a Democrat looks at something they tried and it's not working, they'll try to correct it for the common good, for the greater good. Republicans just want the meme. They just want the soundbite. They just want the cruelty. So you cannot say both parties are the same. And to your point, where how did it get right, left versus right like it is now? Believe me, that's all planned. And it's planned. We were talking about James Tallarico, right? It's been planned by billionaires to get the working class to fight against each other.
Yeah.
That's been the master plan this whole time, because the billionaires just want to keep power. They don't want to pay taxes. They want their corporations to be able to run without regulation. So how do you do that? you get the working class to fight over crumbs. And we're fighting each other over whether the minimum wage should be $7.50 or $8 or $8.50 over $1. That's what we're fighting each over.
Meanwhile, billionaires are getting tax breaks for buying a $300 million yacht. You know?
Yeah,
And
it's
then
not tax.
write-off.
It's exactly what they want, is for us to fight each other.
It's in.
What do you think is, first of all, I know you're in District 25 is where you're running, right? So Northern Tarrant.
Yeah, so it starts around the DFW airport,
Okay.
goes diagonal till it hits Mansfield,
Okay.
then heads west to Burleson, Cleburne, and you can go kind of northwest to through Weatherford, or you can just keep going west toward Stephenville, Eastland, or down toward Comanche. So it's Arlington and Mansfield are the population centers, and then from there westward.
Okay. So as far as the families in your community and the district that you're running in, what do you think the biggest issue for families in your district is, and how would you approach resolving that issue?
Yeah, love that question. And when I first started to put together my campaign, I said to myself, I have to put every single issue on the website because I want people to know me. And I had probably 50 things. And I went to a speaking engagement and a woman asked me, William, I think you're great. And if I were to talk to my neighbor about what you believe in, what should I tell them? And I started listing all 50 things. Whoa, no, that's not going to work. I said, okay, you're right. So I have now bundled my platform into 3 clear, simple platform items. Better jobs. Number 1, better jobs for working class Americans. Number 2, improve healthcare. Improve the healthcare system. Number 3, make living affordable. Everyday living has to be affordable. Now, when you take those 3, very bipartisan, everyone can believe in those things.
Mm-hmm.
And then I break down how I'm going to do those things. So better jobs. We want these billion-dollar corporations to invest in their employees. They should have educational programs, training programs, daycare, healthcare. If they're making billions upon billions of dollars profit, they can invest some of that money into their employees to make those good jobs. And that includes things like investing in their education, investing in better healthcare system, lowering taxes for the working class. So that's the better jobs aspect. Then 2, improving healthcare. We have got to get back Medicare and Medicaid. Now, Republicans were smart, right? When is that going to hit? It's going to hit
after the midterms,
after the election. So what we all have to do is we have to warn people, hey, you're 2 months away from losing your healthcare. You're 1 month away from losing your healthcare. And then in November, hey, everyone, you're 2 days from losing your healthcare, because they are. That's not an exaggeration.
right?
But we need to improve the healthcare system by getting back Medicare and Medicaid, but also by eliminating these billion-dollar middlemen corporations, the United Healthcares of the world.
Right.
Now think about this. Their profit goes up every time they deny your claim.
Yep.
How have we let that system become the standard? Right?
Obvious.
Yeah,
And denying it with no medical degree.
They have every incentive to build a cheap, terrible system because it only increases their profits. We've got to take the middleman out of it. We have got to give power to the doctors and to the nurses and to the people. So that's how we're going to improve healthcare. Then the last thing is make everyday life affordable. We're going to do that. We can certainly make housing more affordable. We can remove some of the taxes on lumber and on materials. We can certainly remove the tariffs, the Trump tariffs on the building materials. We can fast track the permits and the zoning requirements on, say, like townhouses or what I'll call starter homes, like 1,500 square foot homes. We can easily get a 1,400 square foot home down to about $110 a square foot. That's affordable living. And I'm stealing that from Kamala Harris. You know, her plan was to give, you know, a $25,000 home buyer credit. Yes, we can absolutely do that if you have a good record, you've paid your bills, or we can even make that a 0%, 1%, 2% loan for that down payment. When you do those and you know, remove the taxes and the tariffs and streamline the permitting process and give someone a small down payment, we can easily get a starter home down to $150,000. I truly believe that in my heart. And that's what I mean by affordable living.
I was gonna say, so these tiny homes, they are a great idea, and I've seen them, and they're amazing. But one thing that I do notice about these tiny homes is that they always get picked up by big investors, and then they just end up renting them out, and then, you know, they don't really go back, you know, to the people that we intended them to go to. So what would we do to stop something like that?
Yeah, what a shame. What a shame that corporations and even foreign investors are buying our housing. How did we ever let that happen? So a couple things you can do. One, build more. And it's okay. We have to get people to think it's okay to have condos. It's okay to have townhomes.
Yeah.
Right. Now, I understand a lot of folks, especially in rural areas, they love their acre, 2 acres, 5 acres. And it's okay. They can have it, right? That's totally okay. That.
I don't want to hear my neighbors.
It's okay to have, you know, 3 streets down, some townhouses. We can live together peacefully. So one is build housing. And let's say, and I'm not talking about small home builders. You know, these are the local home builders that build, you know, 4, 5, 8 houses a year. No, not them. I'm talking about D.R. Horton, based in Texas, that builds 90, 100,000 homes every single year. You know that they want to build high-end homes because that's where they make the profits. So why can't we say, all right, for every $800,000 home you build, go ahead and build a $150,000 starter home. And we're going to find a plot of land, and we're going to fast track all the permit process, and we're even going to reduce the taxes on some of that material. We can do it. It's possible if you dream it. It's possible if you believe it.
Hey, conservatives, if you have a problem with the idea of building more housing or multifamily housing, then you should probably reinstate abortion access, because there's going to be a lot of babies being born, okay? So we need more houses. You're going to have to get over needing your space if you want us to keep popping out all these babies. There's my TED Talk. Good luck.
One of my questions, because I'm a small business owner, my husband is a small business owner, and we have several problems, several issues as being small business owners. We both grew up with nothing. Nobody ever gave us anything. Nobody in our families owned any businesses or anything like that. Everything that we started on our own with sweat equity and no money. And we worked really, really hard to get to where I would say like lower middle class. And now because of the economy, we're like lower class again, and it sucks, right? But one of the biggest issues that I have is like specific small business taxing, right? So people don't understand this, but because they think everybody I know is like, oh, you own a business, so you make more money than everybody else. And I'm like, no, I make less money because I've twice the bills, 3 times the bills that what you have, right? So if I make $1 in my store, automatically, if I collected that dollar through a credit card, I get hit with a credit card processing fee. And then I'm getting hit with taxes on top of that. So out of that $1, I maybe make 65 cents. Then that 65 cents, the product that I sold you cost me 50 cents, right? And then if I go and spend that extra 30 cents, then I have to pay taxes on it again, right? And maybe I bought something that I keep in my store, and then I've got to pay county taxes on that doorbell that I bought. I've got to pay taxes on that every single year. And so everything that I'm purchasing for my business, everything that, like having an employee, if I take taxes out of the employee's check, I get, a lot of people don't understand this. If I'm paying you, I have to pay the amount of taxes that I take out of your check. I have to pay that in too. So I'm paying double taxes, your taxes, and the taxes that I'm paying out of my pocket. Like I'm just taxed to death.
Yeah.
And I don't understand why I'm so taxed. And I do understand that taxes are necessary, but it's all for a small business. You know, I'm not Amazon here.
Yeah.
I'm struggling.
Yeah, and
to
that's why you're being taxed to death, is so Amazon can make $50 billion in a year.
Yeah.
So what the solution is? So first, I have small business owners are the backbone of this economy. I have supported thousands of small businesses over the years through small business grants, through chambers of commerce. I have met with thousands of small business owners. So I empathize with you. What we have to do is decouple this notion that Amazon and Walmart should have the same tax burden and regulations as a small business owner, right? It shouldn't be that way. Even, look at Warren Buffett. Warren Buffett said, why is my secretary paying more in taxes than I am, a billionaire? Doesn't make any sense. Look at Roger Williams. Roger Williams is a car dealer. His car dealership is worth $50 million. Yet he calls himself a small business owner. That's just not true. So what we have to do is make sure the large billion-dollar corporations operate under one set of regulations for $1 billion corporation. Probably, if you're in the hundreds of millions of dollars, probably, right, you need your own set too. But folks like you, who are the backbone of this economy, you need small business friendly regulations. You should not be paying the same taxes as Walmart and Amazon. But here's my guess. You probably pay more.
Oh, I'm sure.
Those companies, they max out at 20, 22%. But typically, some years, Amazon was 0. Some years it's 5%, 12%. Yeah. So we need to hold them accountable and give small business owners the business friendly regulations.
On your bio, you talked about wanting to end Citizens United. I know there's a lot of people who don't really know what that is, or why would it affect us. Would you be able to explain that and how it relates to what we were just talking about?
Yeah. So if you go back about 20 years, again, John McCain comes up, but both Republicans and Democrats together saw that big money was corrupting politics. And they passed a law called McCain-Feingold. McCain-Feingold essentially said, hey, if you're a large corporation or a PAC, political action committee, you cannot combine these millions upon millions of dollars and force that message out and force this millions of dollars of support all at once. And so McCain-Feingold limited that. And Citizens United was the court case that overturned that. And so what that did was allow folks like Elon Musk to pour hundreds of millions of dollars into a PAC. And what they will say, right? They will say, okay, this super PAC, they can run advertisements, they can, massive millions of dollars of TV ads. And what they'll say is, oh, well, we're not coordinating with the candidate. We've never talked to them. Well, that's not true. Not true at all. These, millions of dollars of ads are exactly the talking points of the candidate they want to support. And now you essentially get billionaires being able to influence elections in a way that was never supposed to happen. That's not what our founding fathers envisioned. They envisioned grassroots donations, support from knocking on doors and supporting your candidate. They never envisioned that billionaires could pour hundreds of billions of dollars and call that free speech. When we are talking elections, the regulations of elections have to be unimpeachable. They have to be completely 100% above board. And Citizens United upended that.
Yeah. And so how would you end it? How would you stop?
Well, right. So we have a hard time because the Supreme Court is 6-3. Right. So the way, and this is why I tell folks, right? You have to believe, you have to have hope. Hope is not going to overturn everything overnight. So what we're going to start with our local elections this year, then move on to the midterms. Once we take the House, we can block some of these horrific bills going through that are just getting rubber stamped because Republicans control both the House and the Senate. So that's the first step, right? So you have to think in an 18-month horizon, take control of the House. Then in 2028, we take control of the presidency. Okay, I have to be realistic. I am not going to try to sugarcoat this. There is not a lot tangible that we can do legislatively until we take the House. And I know people are frustrated. I'm frustrated. But there is only so much we can do. And it doesn't help to criticize a Democratic congressperson because they're not changing the way a bill looks. They can't. They simply do not have the votes. If we do not flip 3 Republicans, we do not have the votes. And in the Senate, if it's 50-50, we also do not have the votes. So you've got to take this one day at a time, one election at a time. The first priority is to take the House. And here's what I tell folks. So, in my district, I think I'll need about, let's say, 250,000 votes to win. Let's just say that as an example. 250,000 people, it sounds like a lot. But if you think of it this way. So in the next year and a little, I've got 400 days. Well, 400 days, 250,000 people, that's less than 1,000 people a day. 700-800 people a day. Now, okay, I can see that. That's something I can grasp onto. I don't need to find 20 or 250,000 people in one day, but I can reach 600, 700, 800 people in a day. I can do that. And that's how we have to think of this. 10 people turns into 20 people, turns into 100, turns into 1,000. That's how we're going to do it, by building on something we can believe in.
Great.
So I have a question from the audience. Eric wants to know, Eric on Instagram. Okay, ask him what he would do for small business owners. We went over that. Does he plan on tackling the insurance companies in some way? And I believe he's talking about homeowners insurance. And then he wanted to know if you would support any kind of property tax increase to pay for any programs that you wanted to provide.
Yeah, so everyone in Texas especially loves talking about property taxes. As a homeowner, right? I get that. That's more of a Texas legislature issue, not a congressional issue. However, I will say this: there should absolutely be an age cap on taxes. If you are getting up there, maybe it's 55, 60, 65, it should not bankrupt you to own your home. If you've owned your home and paid into the system, you should not be killed with taxes for the rest of your life. So we should put an age limit on home ownership where your taxes shouldn't always go up. Those folks have paid their dues. Yeah. That's the first thing you do. Then I think look at the tax base: veterans, teachers, first responders, government officials. These are folks who are paying into their system with their time, their sweat, their efforts. In my opinion, we can incentivize folks to become teachers and nurses and first responders by possibly, giving them a break or capping some of their property taxes. So that's a way to do that too. Texas, what's interesting about Texas is there's no income tax, but man, does Texas get you on the other things, right? Tax and property tax. Here is overall, right? Overall, the solution is you want to work for progressive taxes rather than regressive taxes. So what are those? A progressive tax means if you're a billionaire, you pay a percentage that is a little more than a working class person, say a teacher who makes $50,000 a year. The reason is, if you make $50,000 a year, you go to the DMV and it costs you $200 to renew your car. $200 out of your paycheck, if you're a teacher, that's a big chunk. That's a big chunk, because think about it, $50,000 every week. you're only making $800 a week. So if you go to the DMV and you have to spend $200 of your paycheck, right? That's a big chunk of your income. Whereas if you're a millionaire, $200 is not the same to a multimillionaire. That's an example of a regressive tax that it seems equal, right? Oh, if you look, oh yeah, it's equal for everyone, but it's not, because $200 to a teacher is a huge chunk, whereas $200 to a billionaire is they don't even know. So that's an example of a regressive tax, right? So in general, you want to make taxes progressive, where it's the same percentage on a billionaire as it is on a working class person.
So this one isn't actually a question, but it's in our on our YouTube chat. And Kingstone Farm says, I see some politicians trying to do the right thing, but they get weeded out by the machine. And the thing that he wanted you to address is, and I don't know if you pay attention to what's happening in Texas specifically, but I'm in a bit of a rant, guys, but it's funny how they put SB5 in front of the flood warning systems. Do you know what SB5 is?
What?
Oh yeah, they heard it.
So,
They were working on it today.
Oh yeah.
So SB5 is the new.
So we haven't done any flood stuff yet?
No. No.
So
no.
You know what they're doing is they're trying to back the Democrats into a corner. So they're holding the flood funds hostage, essentially.
I told you that they were going to do that, but if they do that, it's really stupid. It's not a smart thing to do.
For anybody who wants to understand how it feels to be a Democrat in Texas, imagine playing chess with someone who knows every move that you're going to make, and the minute you start the game, they're 10 moves ahead of you already. Like that's what, and then they change the rules during the game.
Yeah.
Like this is what we deal with. So what's happening right now is our governor has called a special session that is meant to address the things that they didn't take care of during the normal legislative session. That's bullshit. This was based on a phone call that our governor got from the Orange Commander-in-Chief that is demanding that we redistrict our state so that they can have 5 more Republican reps. We should be addressing flood relief or disaster relief. We should be addressing storm alert systems. We should be addressing hemp. We should be addressing our taxes. There's so many things that our state needs that we need to be focused on that we should be paying our reps to address right now. But instead, this is what we're up to. Adding a few more moves to their side of the chessboard while we just try not to die. And I need you guys to understand how important it is for you to get your butts out and vote against this. Do not just sit here and complain when it doesn't go your way. Go freaking vote.
And call your reps. Contact your reps. Call your reps, call your House reps, your Senate reps, your governor, your lieutenant governor, and tell them, you work for me, not the other way around.
Yeah, don't be afraid of them either, because a lot of the times when you call those offices, they're there to serve you, and they're not going to give you a hard time. And if they do, those are the kind of people that you need to speak out against. But a lot of these staffers are like nice, no matter who you are.
Yeah, I love the comment the gentleman said. A lot of politicians want to do the right thing, but they get eaten up by the machine, right? So my pledge to everyone is to bring ethics back to Congress. First, I'll term limit myself. Second, I will immediately propose a stock trading ban for all Congress members. There's no reason a member of Congress gets elected and becomes a millionaire. Mm-hmm. So we've got to ban stock. Listen, they put it in a mutual fund, put it in a blind trust, put it somewhere. We're not taking away your money. We're just saying you can't trade individual stocks.
Right. Yeah.
And so bringing ethics back to Congress, closing the revolving door between Congress to lobbyists to corporate America. It's just this revolving door. Once you get in, they never get rid of you. And remember when I said a lot of Trump's policies, the end goal is actually something like we understand, draining the swamp. He's never drained the swamp. He's made it worse. But that's something I think people believe in, right? And so ending the revolving door between lobbyists and Congress, that's easy. You just pass a regulation.
Yeah.
I will immediately propose a balanced budget amendment. So you do not leave, you not recess, you not go home in August unless you have a balanced budget. I stole that from Warren Buffett. That's another Warren Buffett idea. But a balanced budget is required, or you don't come back. Banning stock trading, stopping this revolving door. Those are all things we can do to avoid that the machine that the commenter mentioned. Yes, right now politicians get eaten up by this machine because they are tied to donors. They are tied to money. They are tied to PACs. That's why we have to immediately implement these ethics regulations for Congress members.
So they work for the people and not for their donors.
Yeah.
Well, we are already at close to our time limit. It feels like a very short conversation. I think we covered quite a bit of stuff, but it feels like it was really short. Do you have anything that you want to say to anybody that's listening or that will watch this later?
First is thanks again to y'all for having this platform, getting the word out. This is what we need. I found in my campaign, communication is the hardest thing. Is it Facebook? Is it TikTok? Is it a text message? What is it, a signal? What is it? And so you are doing an amazing job getting the word out. That way people can decide on their own. Like you said, vote for the person, not the party. And you are helping that come to life. So thank you for that. What I would say to everyone is do what you can, when you can, to the best of your ability. Sometimes that might only be sharing a Facebook post. That's free. It's quick. It's easy. And you know something? That's okay. If that's all you can do today, that's okay. Feel good about that. Feel good about yourself. And the next day, in the next week, if you can knock on a door, that's great too. And then take that little step. And the week after that, if you can donate $1, that's okay too. Because remember, I'd rather have $1 million $1 donations than $1 million donation. But I truly believe taking that first step is the hardest. So every person out there, what I ask of you is take that first tiny 1-inch step, whatever that is for you. And that might be the tiniest thing. It might be talking to your neighbor or sharing a Facebook post. If that's all you can do, that's okay. And let's take that as a win. Let's take that and bring you into the family, into the coalition, because that's the first step in turning Texas blue. Even though it's a tiny step, it's a meaningful step. And I know you can do it.
That was great. All of you that are watching, we want to have people from both sides. I just want to reiterate that. We have had a very hard time trying to find any Republican candidates that are running. I don't know if there's no Republicans that are running, and if they just think everything's okay, but I
think they're a little nervous.
don't know.
Like, come on, guys. I'll be nice. I'll be good. I'll be good. Chastity has a mute button. If it gets too much,
Jen has a mute button. We'll turn your camera off. No, like we really want everybody to be able to, like, we want this platform to be for everybody to speak, for that way that everybody has informed choice. When you're going to the polls, you know who you align with, and your values may be different than our values, and that's okay. If you know a candidate that is running, please reach out to us. If you go to our website, which will be linked down here in the bio thing, go to our website. There's a tab on there that says to elect a candidate, or a candidate interview button or something like that, where you can send us, a candidate suggestion, or for somebody to reach out, or anywhere on any of our social media platforms. They're all going to be at GR Collective TX. And then what is your tag, William?
Very easy, williammarks.com. And from there, you can get to every single social media. So I encourage you, just type in williammarks.com. Then at the bottom, there's Facebook and Instagram and TikTok, which are Marks for Congress. But yeah, William Marks for Congress, williammarks.com.
And will you come back and let us know how your campaign is going? Or if you win, will you remember us small people?
When and if I win, we'll have a big party right here. You're all invited. And then when I go to Washington, we're going to replay this video and you're going to hold me every single thing I said, hold me accountable.
We can do that.
That's what I want.
We will. That's why we get that information questionnaire, because it's posted so we can go back and be like, you said.
We got receipts, baby.
Thank you so much for joining us tonight. I really enjoyed the conversation. Thank you so much.
All right. Once again, that's Mr. William Marks running for Congress, Texas District 25. Thanks again for your time and your honesty. Really appreciate it. Good luck.
Thank you.
All right. We'll see y'all later.
Bye. Jen she's like, bye.
Jen,
Now, like dinner time.